Real vulnerable. Yeah.
You know what I want to know?
Spiders have up to
That's
8
not funny,
eyes.
Tom. It's very sad. You tried
They
being a
have
spider
8
for
eyes
one
and they
day.
can't close it.
Nerd on.
What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast. You didn't need what you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome, especially if your glasses are broken and you're all scarred up on your face.
Oh, that's actually me.
Yeah. You may notice something a little different on the lineup here. This little handsome devil next to me. Because we are talking about Harry Potter. Woo. We thought we'd bring back our other expert alongside Josh on the subject.
I know nothing.
Mikey Nau.
Hello.
From Storybored.
Hi,
Stobo.
Our sketch comedy series. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This is my
Yeah.
favorite day ever.
Welcome back.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we had another Harry Potter episode before this, episode number
61.
61.
You can check it out. Mikey was on there. You can learn all
It
the
was a whole bunch
haps
of
about
fun.
Mikey, what he does, and all that stuff. But today we're going to dig into the topic.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. So, Tom, do you want to take us through the steps of our show?
Yeah. So first thing we're going to do is guess that grump, where at the end of the show we'll have a rating. We'll talk about that later. Then we're going to go over our initial reactions, and then we're going to go to our brief history of the film and do some synopsis of the story as well as the production. Then we'll get into our meat and potatoes of the show, which is going to be our favorite parts, favorite characters and side characters, our qualms, and then we finally rate. And if we have some time at the end, we're going to gush.
I'm going to gush about Mikey at the end.
Yeah.
hopefully.
That sounds
Probably
about
his
right.
beard.
Yeah.
I'm going to gush about your beard.
Stop
We haven't
it.
even started yet.
Started.
Wow.
But since we got that all situated, we'll introduce our host for the day. My name's Tom.
I'm Caitlin.
Ollie.
I'm Josh.
Go for it, bud.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mikey.
And I'm Corey.
And this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon.
I joined.
Yay! The patrons allow us to keep the lights on. It's people like that are just supporting us.
Like this guy.
This
He's actually one of our patrons.
Yeah. Just,
And would do again.
yeah, it allows us to keep doing what we do. And if you are interested, for as little as $1 a month, you can continue to support us.
Yeah.
You get special bonus content like episodes, Discord server that you can talk to us directly
And other nerds.
fans, and a whole lot more coming, like merch and all sorts
Yeah,
of
we just did a
goodies.
big old overhaul. So if you head over to our Patreon page, you can check that
All
out.
sorts of goodies.
But yes,
Let's
I
do
believe
this.
that brings us to our first segment.
Yes.
Is
Guess
that
grump.
He's a boy
Dun,
in a
dun,
closet, but
dun,
now
dun,
he's a
dun,
god.
dun,
He's a
dun,
boy
dun,
in a
dun,
closet, but now
dun,
he's a
dun.
god.
It just gets to where Ollie and I look at each other from
job.
across the room.
That was good.
Wow.
Rhythms beat. Okay.
That might be my favorite one.
Yeah, I like it.
So, guess that grump. If you're new to the show, at the end of the show, we're going to rate it, and it's great out of a scale of 1 to 5. And we're going to guess who we think is going to have the lowest score. And no matter how high or how low it is, if you're the lowest out of all of us, you're the grump for that week. So, if it doesn't have Batman, Ollie usually rates it a point lower, and Caitlin tends to like the thing, so it tends to be higher than a 4.5.
Very true.
Yeah.
So I
No matter what
explain-
it is, the lowest, you're the grump.
Yes,
Yeah.
I explain all the time. So I'm going to make Mikey pick who you think is going to be the grump.
Who's the grump of the episode?
You know,
Who do you think is going to rate it the lowest?
I want to be consistent with this one. Caitlin, 100%. Not for any other reason. I just don't like to change my mind on things.
I
Wow.
was like,
stubborn.
you could stop it. I don't
Wow.
like her.
Let's move down the line here to Josh.
I think it's going to be Corey.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. Ollie?
This is good because I don't actually remember our scores from last time at all.
Good.
I'm
Well,
gonna
this is a
go-
different movie, so they
yeah.
should be
right, but you know,
different.
you can
Same
infer.
franchise, same
I'm gonna
franchise.
say Tom.
Caitlin?
I'm going to say Ali.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm going to say also Corey.
Also Corey?
Also Corey. So 2 on Corey, 2 on Caitlin. 1 on me.
I'm going to change mine to
One on-
Tom.
Okay.
I believe I did that last time. And I'm a big fan
2 on
of
Corey,
being
2 on
consistent.
Tom, 1 on Ollie, right?
yeah.
And mine is Ollie. Let's just do 2, 2, 2.
Yeah.
That's
Do,
fun.
do, do.
So wait, who has none?
Battle.
Do, 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 do.
Mikey, Josh, and Caitlin have
Have none. So you guys will go first.
Yeah.
I have none.
We
You don't have
encourage. We encourage everyone at
changed it.
home
Oh,
to
that's right.
participate. Write down who you think is going to be the grump. Write down your number.
Play with us.
Yes.
Play.
Be our friends.
Yeah.
with us, Peter.
You're doing it.
Patreon. I'm Patreon.
Yes.
And then now, since all of our votes are in, we go into the complete spoiler of Guess That Grump, which
Yes.
is our initial reactions. Where we're going to talk about the first time that we saw it and what we thought about the film.
Yeah.
I feel like we need like a buzzer. I'll go first.
Okay, Josh, go ahead. You hit it first. Go for it.
First impression. So for me, I remember clearly going to the midnight release when you actually had to like wait in line.
And it was actually at midnight.
It was actually at midnight. My parents took me. I believe it was my dad. He took me to all of them, and of course, I mean, yeah, I loved it. I as I've been watching it since then.
And you had read
it's-
the books before.
Oh yeah, of
Okay.
course.
It wasn't like my Lord of the Rings where you like saw one and was like, oh my God, I got to
Yeah.
read these. You had already.
Yeah, I'd already
Okay.
cleared them. I cleared those levels. And, I
played the beta.
Yeah, I played the
I
beta.
leveled up.
And this was the DLC, so I thought,
It's not Destiny.
No. So yeah, no, I remember just loving it, and to this day,
To this day.
to this day, I still love it.
All right.
So
Nice. Very good.
yeah,
Mikey?
So this was one of the ones that I forced my my brother and his like college friends to watch, like freshman year of high school.
That's a good.
Yeah.
one.
Pretty
good.
regularly.
Good.
Clockwork
I
Orange.
just so I was telling Corey the other day like why the movies mean a lot to me also like for a family value. It was the only thing I could get my mom to watch for like 3 straight hours and then talk about. But she's still
3 hours, so-
it's almost 3 hours if
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
watch the
that's right.
previews and the credits at the end. But
Which is impressive. I've never got my mom to watch Lord of the Rings.
Well, because she doesn't love you that much.
No, I know.
bummer, so sad.
It's such a good experience.
No, but this one was, I think, I loved the first movie, but this was the one that I think I liked this one first, and then I started to like the first one more. But this one was just fun, man.
Yeah.
I loved this one.
Well, because there's no more exposition. The world's kind of lived
Right.
in, right?
It's like you're in the car, and now the car is moving. Is kind of how it felt like the story just picks up. It
not
gets a
as
little
much
bit
as the
more-
first film exposition. There's some, yeah.
It's not 60%.
Right.
Right.
Still kind of getting to know the
Each
characters,
pots.
and new characters are coming in. I think that's my favorite part of this one is you're getting to know new characters.
Yeah.
And expanding on the ones you got to meet in the first one.
Yes.
But this one was a fun one because it was my favorite one to watch in college when I studied because it was just fast paced and fun, and there's spiders.
Potts in his name.
Yeah.
I love a good spider.
I don't.
Is that a weed joke?
Yes. Corn Pop?
got it.
Speaking of.
Same thing. I saw this in the theaters. I don't think I saw the midnight one, but I saw it the day it came out. Contrary to my sister's popular belief, I love these movies in the books.
Shout out.
If you listen to our first one, I believe I talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like Mikey said, you're getting to play within a world that you've learned the rules of a little bit. So now you get to, they're bending them just a little. So they're staying like kind of one step ahead of you in a sense. And I'll get into what I mean by that a little later on. But I thought this was a really fun experience as far as like following the Sorcerer's Stone. I think it's the perfect follow-up.
Interesting. I'll follow up and we'll go to Ollie that direction. But obviously, yes, you are in that direction. Relax. I'm not skipping you.
Oh, I thought you meant go to Ollie and then back.
I said, why are we doing
this
that?
direction? Why?
No.
Got it.
Anywho,
I work through people. I don't think I watched the midnight release. And this is when they had midnight releases because people stopped getting shot at, before that point.
Yep.
The real reason why they stopped having midnight releases is because too much violence and shit like that happened. So it's like they made it safer. Anyways, I think I just watched this on DVD when I was like sick. That was the first time I watched it because again, Harry Potter, like the books didn't skip me, but the movies, like I was watching Spider-Man and Star Wars. Like my imagination was already a little bit more like
Careful with him. He's a hero.
well, I didn't need like magic, and to me, force and superpowers were magic for me. But then watching this one, like I think the big initial reaction was like I used to go to like the library and read a bunch of like mythology books, and the basilisk in that book that I read, go ahead, say it.
Basilisk.
Okay. Was not a snake. It was like a rooster snake as well as like a goat.
It's like
Ew.
multiple.
Yes. Yeah. And so like for me, that like super like
Oh, so it threw you off that it was like a snake?
yeah, and I was like, it's more than just a snake. It's kind of like, oh, chimera, it's a lion and dog. It's like there's a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
Like a Tesla's more than just an electric car.
Yeah. I think I like this one because it showed a little bit of breaking of some of the rules from the first one. And again, to your point, Mikey, it's like 40% exposition, not 60. So there's still a lot of explanation. So to me, it's still a little bit more of an easing into this world. Where
we have
expanding.
7 books, and so it's like the first couple. It's
Well,
like,
no, I'm talking about the
we've
movies.
Still gotta like.
I'm talking about the movies, not the books.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
books is very different.
Well, I mean, even with the movies, it's like you have 8 of those, and it's like we're just working.
Working our way
we
up.
still have to have a little bit of exposition as new.
Well, because
things
you
are
have to
introduced.
surprise your audience still.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the funny thing
Yeah.
is, like, I think
You
this
have to have them
film,
learn new things in this world.
is better than the first one in terms of a mystery.
Yeah.
Like it works
100%.
way better as a mystery than the first one. The first one, you're like, I don't know any of the rules, so the mystery's kind of like sometimes doesn't go through.
It's more fantastical. It's not
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
mystery, I would say, the first one.
And the second one is a little bit more just like it's more mystery because again, the allure of the mysteries of the fantastical world's gone ish.
yeah, I agree with that.
So
Would you call this one like a whodunit?
yeah, it's a whodunit. The other
Yeah.
one, who is it?
I'm not very good at
Yeah, it's just like a
titling things.
fantasy film,
Yeah.
and this one is
Well,
definitely
it's
a
like
fantasy
it's
mystery.
and that's a good thing. I think all the first few Harry Potter films do. They're like a really good Scooby Doo,
Yeah.
like a very good like who is it? I wonder.
Kaylin?
Yeah. I did it's a combination of things that have already been said, kind of, because I did the midnight release, because I think when this came out, I was like 12
Yeah.
or maybe freshly. Yeah, I was,
2002.
I was 12 at this point. So I was like, I was the target audience. And it was just like everything I had ever wanted. And this movie was, I think, kind of what Tom was saying of like the fantasy, all the fantasy, and you don't know any of the rules and everything was in the first movie. And so the second movie was like grounding the fantasy more. So it
Yeah.
like felt even more real.
Yeah.
With the second one, and they did a really good job of making it feel real too. So I was just
Well, I mean, because it
wrapped.
is real. So.
Yeah,
It's all real.
100%.
Ali Oxenfree?
I love this movie. The first time I saw it, I like all the Harry Potter movies. I don't really
Spoiler.
remember. I don't really remember. Well, I mean, come on, we all
Yeah, it's true.
it's all relative here. I don't really remember my first time seeing it, but I had forgotten. I don't think I've seen it very many times, maybe twice total.
Because everyone's watching the third, fourth,
Right.
sixth, seventh.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was surprised on how dark this one is.
Oh, yeah.
Death.
I've forgotten. Like, to me, in my head, I was like, oh,
Just
the first
you wait,
two.
little darling.
Oh, no, I
Very
know.
true.
But to me, I was like, oh, the darker ones are like
Yeah,
from 3
yeah.
on or whatever. And for some reason, because they were younger, simply because for that reason. But I had this association where those first two Chris Columbus ones were like
Whimsical.
a little more whimsical, which
Yeah,
they kind of
I
are.
can see
But
that.
They still have that.
It still has that, but I was surprised. Like some of the dialogue, like the exchanges between some of the characters, I was like,
The blood
this
written on
is-
the wall and stuff.
I was
Yeah.
like, this is like more intense than like anything that's come out in Fantastic Beasts.
They
So I
trick
was
you
like,
into thinking there's a dead cat. Like,
right.
whoa,
So yeah, I loved it. It was good.
cool.
It's dark and great.
Well done.
Dark and great.
Does
And
I want
whimsical.
to? I feel good about that. I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know if I picked right. I have no idea.
It doesn't really.
It's hard. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
gonna be a
it's gonna
tough
be
one.
On a
a.
movie
guess
that,
that grump.
pretty much all of us like, it's really hard to like
Right.
guess
Yeah.
who's going to be the grump because it'll come down to like a decimal point past
Yeah.
the number.
Yeah. yeah.
Who wants
So,
to do the synopsis?
Brief synopsis. I feel like either Mikey or Josh might be good at this.
If we can do it short.
Yeah.
truncated.
I did the last one
Yeah,
though.
do it.
I
I'm
want to
not.
Yeah.
I'm not really great at like memory.
What?
So
I'll joke.
no, but like here's the thing. Me and Corey were talking about
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've watched these movies multiple times every year. I've read the books multiple times every year. But when it comes to remembering things, for some reason I just
Remembering?
go.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want me to try?
The movie was good.
I would love to see you in an interrogation room.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Give us,
Yeah.
give us like a brief 2-minute synopsis
Yeah.
of the film.
Okay, so very brief. The movie opens up differently than the book, as Corey and I talked about yesterday. In the movie, opens up on Harry. Oh gosh,
In his room.
In his room.
Locked. He's got a room now.
Yeah, he's got a good for
Dudley's
him.
second room.
Yeah.
He's got a room, and the stakes are already pretty great for him. That his uncle has a very important business associate coming over, big threat, and so he has to stay in his room. Right then, you see Dobby, the savior of the story, in my opinion, and the coolest character ever.
Hilarity ensues, as we say.
Yes, hilarity. So Dobby essentially like sabotages the whole meeting between him or Mr. Weasley,
Dursley.
Mr. Dursley and his colleague, and gets Harry in some hot water. So naturally, Harry's friends that he didn't know he had, because they hadn't been answering his letters all summer, come and pick him up in a flying car, which has been enchanted by Mr. Weasley, which is a Ford Anglia. It is blue. Caitlin is right.
Thank you. Yes.
You were very right.
Yeah.
They fly to the Burrow after pulling Mr. Weasley out of the window, which I thought was cool. We talked yesterday.
Harry Potter out of the window, not Weasley.
Well, no, Mr. Dursley.
Yeah,
out
yeah.
the window, he falls in the
Into the
bushes,
bushes.
which in the book is where Harry begins the book.
So it's the nice little
Reading in
bookend
the
of
bushes.
chapter 1.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a nice bookend, but they didn't
Yeah.
do it in the movie. Anyhow, they end up at the Burrow. You're introduced to the entire Weasley family, where they live, kind of, the grittiness that Ron is from, which is it's really fun. I don't know, kind of.
Well, it's just like a big poor family.
Just
They
a
just
big
have
poor
each other.
family. They
It's
have
like
each other.
Snow White's hut.
And then they then they take the Floo Powder to Diagon Alley.
Go to Diagon Alley, and which is where you're going to see Hagrid
Hagrid.
again. Hagrid saves him in Nocturne Alley, and from there
They run into Lucius.
they run into Lucius Malfoy,
who hates
who
Hermione.
is just the
lot.
worst. So you're introduced to Malfoy. You get to see where he's from. So a little bit of
Nazi family.
if you thought
Nazi family.
Malfoy, I said the same thing. I was like, they're just Aryans who hate non-purebloods. It's literally
Yeah.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Salad bar Slytherin.
salad bar Sizzlerin.
Literally Hitler.
So from there,
we find out that Ginny is starting to start at the school.
find out
Yep.
that Ginny's starting the school, and this is something that I'll probably speak on is Ginny's behavior. She's very awkward at first, and J.K. Rowling did a really good job of introducing her as an awkward person, because throughout the book you get to see how awkward she is every time, and we think it's because of Harry when really it's for something else, and we will, I'm sure we'll go into that as far as Tom Riddle's influence on her. But so anyhow, you're introduced to some new characters.
They get to Hogwarts.
Well, they don't just get to Hogwarts.
That's true.
They steal a car, which in our world is super not allowed.
I'm gonna let you know you have like a minute left on the synopsis.
And then boom, they get in trouble because they steal their dad's car and they fly it into the Whomping Willow, which we'll learn more about when we talk
Hell yes.
in the next episode. Why the importance and significance of the Whomping Willow, why it's there, and Snape is super pissed. They end up getting detention. You're introduced with Gilderoy Lockhart, who is a big ol', just a great guy. There's some things going on in the school when Harry's in detention with Mr. Lockhart. He's hearing voices, which turns out to be a serpent that's flying through the
People are getting
the pipes.
frozen here
Yeah.
and there.
People are getting frozen.
Bloody messages are left on the
bloody
wall.
the
Mysteries ensue.
mysteries ensue.
And we find out that the Chamber of Secrets has been opened.
The Chamber of Secrets.
And it's most likely a basilisk.
But
Arrow Salazar.
up until this point, people didn't believe that there was a Chamber of Secrets. So not only do they have to believe it's real, they have to find it now. So through the process, Hermione gets
Petrified.
Harry has to figure the whole thing out, which is really cool. But anyhow, long
talk about
story
it.
short, they end up saving the day.
Yeah, he finds out that Ginny was entranced to do all these things
By
by
Tom
a
Marvolo.
notebook left by Tom
Marvolo.
Marvolo.
Riddle.
which is Lord
I am
Voldemort.
Lord
Lord.
Yes.
Voldemort.
So he released a basilisk,
Voldemort.
and Fox, Dumbledore's Phoenix, comes by and drops him the Sorting Hat, and you're like, wow, useful thing. Thanks, dude.
Great bird.
But then you
plot
realize the sword of Godric Gryffindor appears, and he uses that to kill the basilisk. And he gets bit himself,
Yeah, sure, I
and
remember that.
he takes the journal and uses the basilisk tooth that was in his arm to destroy it, and it kills the memory of Lord Voldemort. And he's saved by Fox's tears because they have healing powers. Because Phoenixes
Phoenix
are
down.
dope.
Yep.
I
And
imagine
then
that like Fox is like,
Literally.
"What's up, girl? Who hurt you?"
So
Sassy friend there.
at the end, Lucius comes by Dumbledore's office and it was like, why are you still here? And he says, a lot of the people on the board who wanted to get me fired, me, Dumbledore, said that you threatened him, you piece of shit, so get out of my office. It's
We
exists word
find
for
out
word.
that Dobby.
Word for word.
Yeah, and so then Harry gives him the notebook back because he knows Lucius planted
Slipped
it for
it
Ginny,
into
The
Ginny.
diary.
and he
yes.
throws it at Dobby. It's get rid of this. But Harry hit a sock in front of it, so he knows when
Robin
you're
Williams.
given clothing by your master, house elf is free.
Free.
So he frees Dobby and he goes to strike Harry, and
The killing curse.
Dobby protects him.
Not something
and,
small.
And then Harry looks at the camera and goes, "See y'all next year."
Yep. One thing that's important to mention is the one person that
Potter
could have saved the children from being not from being petrified, but from becoming unpetrified is Hagrid, and he is of course accused of the crime, sent
Taken
to
to
Azkaban,
Azkaban.
which I think is kind of suspicious. I don't think Lucius wanted these people to be better.
No.
Of course, he wants to kill.
No
'cause he's a
way.
Nazi.
Well,
'Cause he's a
Oh, yeah.
Nazi.
Say.
Hagrid is his
can-
job is the keeper of keys and grounds. So
And the
he's-
reason he's in Nocturne Alley.
is to get blast-ended scroots because they're eating all of the flesh-eating slug repellent, and the flesh-eating slug repellent prevents mandrakes from being eaten, and the mandrakes is what restores
The petrified people.
The petrified people. So
It's a whole circle of
So
life thing.
I was gonna say technically, it's what's her name? Potts.
Professor Sprout.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
She's the herbologist.
She's-
Potts.
yeah.
Yeah.
she's the one that's
but
really
anyway,
saving
And
people.
also one thing that's important to mention is I don't know how to synop this movie in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you did
it was
pretty
really
good. You did
impressive.
pretty
good.
Yeah, yeah.
You're doing great.
I,
go,
I
like,
set you up
scene
for
by
an
scene.
You gotta
impossible
understand
standard.
that none of us can really. It's a new standard we set for ourselves.
We
that
none of
we're
us have
like-
hit
It's
it.
so hard.
and it's hard.
Yeah, it's real
Any
fun.
movie.
Updated format. So I mean, this is the second film in the series, second book in the series.
They actually had a $30 million less of a budget, which was impressive.
Really?
Yeah.
And again, this was gangbusters. It sold a lot. But
It's one of the longer ones.
yeah, and I think this also like started pushing a lot more toys for
Oh,
kids
I'm
at the
sure.
time.
Oh
And you know, this was I think really Harry Potter 1 was like boom, we
Buying
got it. Steve Close.
We made $1 billion.
Yeah, Steve Close, David Henway were like, okay, we can make this movie, we can make this franchise. And then the second one really is their sophomore slump. You know, they have to like prove that they can do it. So after this one, it solidified the
I
fact that
swear we can do 6 more movies.
yeah, that they can do it.
Yeah, they do.
It's a franchise. Well, because I mean, I think the only thing close to this at this point was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like this was the
Same-
closest
same
thing.
year.
Yeah.
Right. So like that was already they gave Peter Jackson all creative control, and they saw it was like gangbusters, getting awards, and this was like another thing. So it's Warner Brothers trying really hard to just make this happen.
Well, I mean, another thing that was kind of going on in kind of the movie industry at that time is what I was calling the it's not a trilogy, but the franchise swap, where it was like, okay, Lord of the Rings, okay, Harry Potter, then it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. They like kind of like switch back.
Spider-Man.
It was
that-
like
Star
okay,
Wars.
now it's this
Right,
one.
right.
Now it's this one, and it's
yeah.
like that's what was going on in those years. That it was just like, okay, now it's this one.
I
now
think
it's this one.
Beethoven was on their 9th or their 10th, and Home Alone was rapidly running
where was
that
Air
into
Bud?
the ground.
Yeah.
Airbud.
Air Bud.
Oh no.
Equestrian polo.
Yeah, the bowler.
So distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures, director same thing by Chris Columbus, same producer David Heyman, writer Steve Clove for the screenplay, cast Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Alan Rickman. The last we see of Mr. Richard Harris.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
I love you.
Gone too soon.
And we have Kenneth Branagh, who
And Jason Isaacs.
Sir Kenneth
Jason.
Branagh.
Sir.
Yes.
Jason Isaacs.
Runtime
So good.
was 161 minutes, so 2 hours and 41 minutes. Released.
Corey, how long did it take us to watch the movie yesterday?
It took us 4.5 hours.
It was released November 15th, 2012, and it had a $100 million budget, and it grossed $879 million. So it did 87 times.
So it was a
more.
flop.
Whoa.
I'm surprised they made a third one, to be honest. But they
It technically made
It's really
more than
sad.
the first one? No.
It's really,
really,
I mean,
really
it's-
bummer.
The other
wow.
one I think was barely $1 billion.
Because it costs less.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Jason Isaacs was also the voice of the Basilisk.
That's it?
The Basilisk.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. That's incredible.
I had
Oh, so they
such a
stole that
crush
from
on Jason
Lord of the Rings
Isaacs
too. Cool. Hmm.
From everything that he was ever in.
Rotten Tomato score is 82% from critics.
Wrong.
Audience consensus is 80%.
Wow.
Even more wrong.
Even more wrong.
Yeah,
Hey,
for real.
you know what? Hey, look, I don't give a shit about those numbers anyway. So yeah, that pretty much runs over our synopsis, a little bit of the history, as well as the production. So now we can get into our meat and potatoes,
Wonderful.
which is our favorite parts.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like the part where there was magic.
Jesus.
Wow. I have a few like for me it was like little details in this
Oh my
movie
God,
that I
yes.
love. So like Ron's robe being gray instead of black because it's all hand-me-downs because he's poor.
Oh.
I liked Dobby jumping on the bed and not doing it correctly, but having the time of his fucking life.
Oh, yeah.
I've never laughed like that. I never laughed like doing anything
Kind of
before.
like you want to like have as much fun like that as Kanye loves himself.
Yeah, like that. Dobby is just like loving it.
What did you think of what was it bump the lamp?
Bump the lamp. Oh yeah, yeah.
That was a lot.
Like,
I was like,
a lot
don't
of
bump
it.
the lamp. Fucking hit yourself in your face with the lamp.
They had little things like when he casts Gilderoy Lockhart casts Pexy. I can never say this. Pesky Pixie Pestronomy. Nothing happens.
At all.
Right.
Like it's not even a shitty spell. It's not a
Yeah.
spell at all. He just does something and then it takes it.
Because it's not in Latin.
little moments like Dumbledore when Gilderoy says, "I know the exact counter curse. I wish I had been here." Dumbledore literally just lowers his glasses and looks at him and just stares at him like, "I fucking hate you so much."
We're just
can't
low on
believe
budget and we need
Sweat.
it high.
Another little detail, I'm gonna just like rapid fire mine, is Dobby, when he comes out of Harry Potter's closet for the second time after he's there, he has a sock on his
I
ear.
know!
So it's like perfect foreshadowing for later in the movie when he's given a sock to be
so
free.
cute.
I can't say enough about this part. I rewound it like 4 times when we were watching it together.
What
When
is this rewinding?
yes, when he's growing his bones back. What's the nurse's name? Madame Pomfrey.
Madame Pomfrey.
When
Yeah.
she walks in, Draco is going, "Oh," and she goes, "Stop making such a fuss. You can go." It's just like, it was one of my favorite things.
He sounds like I did the first time I saw a pretty girl when I was like 6. Just-
Yeah. But my favorite
That
part of the
Scalar Girl?
entire film.
Yeah, Scalar
My
Girl.
favorite part of the entire film,
Okay.
and we'll retroactively know why when we talk about characters and stuff,
I swear to God.
is at the end with Hagrid.
Not at the end. Mine's in the middle.
Okay. The end with Hagrid, when everyone's cheering
Oh.
for him and he's like welcomed back and you find out how much everyone loves him, was really important to me because you also find out you find out more about it in the book, but in this movie as well, that he was basically hated because he's intimidating. Like he's a half giant and everyone thinks is like stupid and violent, and he gets blamed for
a crime.
A lot.
for crimes,
For a murder.
for a big crime, and
Only one
has
person
his
believed
magic
him.
taken away, and he's exiled, and like he's such an outcast, and no one believes him except like Dumbledore and McGonagall.
Yeah.
And it's the reason he loves creatures so much is because like they're outcasts too, and he knows what it's like. So to have this moment where he's accepted by everyone in the school was like really touching to
Except
me.
by one person.
It's what I hope happens to Stephen Avery.
Oh,
No? Nobody?
No reference there.
I don't know.
Making a murderer?
No.
Oh,
No, I got you.
Just wrongfully
But anyway, that's my there's a lot of little things, but that's my favorite.
Anyone else
Wow.
want to go next?
Man, we got to talk about that.
wow.
I'm just going to say one.
Yes.
Okay.
So everyone's going to go. My favorite part is Mudblood.
Yeah.
Don't
you think about it.
When Hagrid met was when
you think on it.
Malfoy says it for the first time after the Slytherins take the fucking Quidditch course, and then they go to Hagrid's hut because Rupert Grint, aka Ron, does the eat slugs. It blasts back on him, and he's barfing.
Says
and everything.
Mudblood.
And then they find out it's like, oh, he did this because he was trying to defend Hermione's honor, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what did he call you? And then it said, Daniel Radcliffe. I say all the stars' names, but
Yeah.
Harry Potter's like trying to explain. He's like, I don't know the word.
He was like, "What is Mudblood?" And they're like, "Ooh, with a hard R, don't."
Yeah.
With a hard D, don't do that.
with the AH.
Yeah.
But they're pretty much like when Hermione says like, it's not something you say in polite conversation, but I have the quote as Hagrid says,
Don't-
and it's codswallop to boot, dirty blood. Why there isn't a wizard alive today that's not half blood or less. More to the point, they've yet to think of a spell that our Hermione can't do.
Yeah.
Come here. Don't you think on it, Hermione. Don't you think on it for 1 minute.
So good.
But the thing
sweet.
is, there's a really great reverse shot between Hagrid and Hermione.
Yeah.
And Hermione's eyes are glossing over.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was rewatching it the other night, and I was watching it, and I do multiple things at the same time and all that shit. But I stopped and I started watching that, right? Because I was like, oh, this is. I started feeling it. And then all of a sudden I just went. You ever feel like that one, like,
It's right here. It's like right here, and you're like, "Why?"
you feel like the
slug come out
10
of your
years
mouth?
of crying just pop up in one like burp. Like,
Yeah.
That's what happened. I was like, whoa. And then like, my
it's
eyes got
another
really
moment.
glossy.
It's another moment where he totally understands what she's feeling.
Yeah, because he's an outsider, but also it's just kind of like it's such a socio-political reflection of the real world, right?
Well, he
You
was
know?
called that too because he's a half giant.
Yeah,
So he's
like
also
it's
not-
He was
the
called half
It's the whole
breed.
idea
Yeah.
of being a half blood and all that stuff. And I mean, like, I'm not trying to make it too much of it because, like, I have friends who are like full Chinese or full Thai and all that stuff, and I'm like mixed.
Yeah.
So like, I've always kind of felt that way, where I'm like kind of a melting pot of all these different cultures, but never fully
Accepted
involved
either.
into
Yeah.
it. And even then, like socially, right, with like Caucasian people or Hispanic or Black people, where it's like I'm not kind of in it. So like I understand that point of view, and the fact that Hagrid kind of has gone through it, and he kind of gives that same mentor that he probably would have needed, that
Yeah.
Dumbledore probably gave to him.
Yeah.
That he's
When he
giving
hid
that,
his wand in a umbrella.
yeah, that he now is giving to Hermione, and like it's just like Hermione's or Emma Watson's like performance of that small smile of like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really like to me, it's like the best moment of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute little beebs.
Anyone else?
I liked pretty much any moment that the movie was on the
I was gonna say
screen. No, I'm just
between
kidding.
credits.
Anytime any sass is given to Gilderoy.
Oh
like,
my God.
McGonagall just like giving him so much sass, and then
Harry going, "Are you going somewhere?"
It's brilliant. It's his best acting in the entire
like, are you
series.
being this much of a shit right now? Is that what's happening?
I'm sorry, Dad. What?
probably the best moment is when Snape goes, headmaster, perhaps they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
right.
And then the kids are like, what? The face that they make is like, I mean, there's a lot in this movie that it's,
But also that coincides with the beginning too. It's like, if it was up to me, you'd be on the first train back home. But it's, and then all of a sudden Dumbledore's like, but you're not.
yeah.
And it's like, because you could see it's the same
It's a
Snape.
good
It's like,
thing
I'm
you
still trying to
wrong.
save you, but also I'm really pissed at you. And you're like,
Fucking Richard
Yeah.
Harris.
Yeah.
I will on the Gilderoy Lockhart interactions with him.
Yeah.
When Gilderoy's like, "Oh, that's my fault that he was out this late because he was signing my fan mail."
Yeah.
And Snape's like momentary glance of like, "You disgust me on so many levels."
Yeah.
It's like made me laugh out loud for way too long.
It's so good. Like when it's the same thing when McGonagall calls him out. She's like, "Well, you've told us you've known where the chamber is this whole time. Now's your time. You fucking idiot. Are you gonna
Here
do
we
this?"
go.
Like, here, the
Yeah.
stage is yours. I'm gonna go get ready.
Ready.
To leave.
also
now.
that works well with the dueling
Throwing
club.
his wig in.
That works really well with the dueling club.
That
where
was
he,
funny,
he's-
that's
where he blasts them. He's like, oh, I knew the perfect counterspell.
Yes.
It's like, how
Something-
about student from my house? Yeah.
Something that I noticed, I guess it would be a favorite part just because of how well it was executed, of like when the Dursleys are getting ready for the business partner to come in, and they all kind of like come together in a three and stand together. I don't know why, but that cracked me up
Yeah.
forever because
dip
What does
Dudley,
Dudley
he
say? What
goes,
does he say?
And I'll be waiting by the door.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'll be waiting by the door," and you're like, "Oh, fuck you,
Yeah.
Like-
you shitter.
you
but,
shit."
but the way that they all come together to like stand like vultures over Harry,
Yeah.
I just like in my mind, no one would actually do that ever, but it worked so perfectly for that scene.
Yeah.
and I'll be upstairs making no noise.
And pretending I don't
don't
exist.
exist.
To ride you will.
Anybody else?
Ollie?
I have a couple. My first, it's a small one, and that's when Ron just says, "Oh, by the way, Harry, happy birthday."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's such a like. It kind of encapsulates my love for this movie because it's such a it like reinforces the nostalgia and like the warm feelings you had from the first one. And a lot of this movie is like, in a good way, I would say, is like not rehashing, but just kind of like
Well, it's school.
revisiting
It's a
a
school
lot of the
system.
same. Yeah, but like even the beats, like revisiting a lot of the same kind of things.
Yeah, it's like it gets confirmed by like a consistency.
Yeah, yeah. Another one that I really liked was the interaction between Lucius and Mr. Weasley.
Lucius
Yeah,
or Lucius?
Luscious.
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 Luscious Malfoy.
Jason Isaacs character. I was like their interaction was like
Was
gripping.
phenomenal. Yeah.
It's like,
Jason Isaacs.
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 Ew.
Jason Isaacs?
Ew.
Jason, my eyes have sex with
Isaacs?
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isaacs.
Yes.
Sometimes when I don't get enough sleep, I get just big eye sacks.
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs.
But my absolute I think
Don't go
favorite
Jason
part
Isaacs.
is like, and it just took me back, and I wasn't expecting, and like actually like affected me was when Snape does Expelliarmus to
Gilderoy?
to Gilderoy. I was just like taken back because he goes Expelliarmus. It's the most epic
Yeah.
thing.
It's like one,
Expelliarmus.
two, three.
Yeah.
Boom! It's like,
Expelliarmus. I'm like,
such a
oh
good
my
voice.
god. Okay.
and he doesn't
I-
hold it like Voldemort.
I also want to give a shout out to the moment when Harry breaks his arm and Gilderoy says, "I can fix that arm in an instant." And he goes, No, not you.
Another favorite
you.
part I
Which is-
love is the introduction of the Burrow. Like I just seeing that world, like the Burrow for me has always fascinated me. Just the way that it's just
What's the
a
burrow?
jump.
Weasley's house.
Weasley's house. Like, I mean, fun fact for everybody listening: the Nerd on HQ has a sign that above it that says the Burrow. But I love. Wow. But I've just loved that, and it's a home, and it's they're doing what they can with
Yeah.
what they have.
Well, the nice
So-
thing that like Mikey talked about in the last episode with Harry Potter was like how no matter how shitty it is or how
Yeah.
decadent it is, Harry will have the same experience. It's
Yeah.
like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's like you can give him fucking garbage and be like, this is brilliant because it's magic.
Yeah.
But you know, like I hate to sound negative, but you know the movie The Sword and the Stone, how it
Yeah.
was like compared to propaganda because it made education seem really important at the time.
I mean, it still is.
The idea that his own imagination is what is so important. Like money and riches don't matter. Learning does. Learning about the world does, and learning like the possibilities
Experiencing
of
it.
the world is that's so
Paramount.
Everybody. Like if you can have fun learning, and if
Yeah.
you can have fun experiencing and discovering things, then this is a good story for you.
I mean, that's kind of like the basis of the books. It's like
Yeah.
it should be fun to read 1,000-page books.
It's not,
My,
but it should be.
do you have some favorite parts you want to share?
I do. Everybody kind of tackled like some of mine, but I would say my favorite moment is probably when you see the castle for the first time.
Here's that consistency we were talking
If you don't
about.
get that
man.
joke, go check out
And the
episode
moon?
61.
Oh, the moon is just when it's there and it's all.
Oh, there it is.
This is why we don't do fan episodes.
No, but just I mean, I do love when you get to see the castle for the first time, which makes the Anglia trip seem way long because it's like
Yeah.
midnight when they get there.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous. It's really cool. But I think my favorite
The boats and the lights.
the boats and the lights and Hagrid. But I love the I'm not close up. What like learning the stakes of the wizarding world and the threat of exposure. I think is really cool.
Oh, like when Snape was like, "Yo, you were seen by less than 8 or something, no less than 8 or 7 or whatever."
It's like how vulnerable the wizarding world is.
Yeah.
You don't really know that in the first one because only the Dursleys already know about it.
Yeah.
But then you kind of get a sneak peek
How
because
did it
you
fly?
see because you see how Hermione's parents are there at the bookstore too, and it's kind of like there are some people who are allowed that privilege to see it.
Well,
but
specifically because they had
They had to.
Which
but it's like it's cool because like they even have to keep the covenant of a secret of
Right.
like the Wizarding World is still there.
Yeah.
So
So that and along with like being a wizard is not always fun. There are responsibilities and there are risks and there are real consequences for when you screw up. But I would say the backstories. You get to really learn where these characters are from, and it explains why they are the way that they are. Especially Malfoy. And
Piece of shit Malfoy.
We were talking about this
Yeah.
yesterday. He's one of the more interesting characters for me because he's raised to be that way. And now I won't talk like his arc for the series, but like you really see why he is the way he is because of Lucius.
you see,
such
he's
a-
actually the nice
yeah.
one.
such a powerful
Out of the two, yeah.
threat.
Yeah.
So between that and learning the burrow and kind of not humanizing, but diving deeper into who Ron is,
Yeah.
and understanding who the Weasleys are and why he's such a loyal person.
Yeah.
because he's raised to be that way. That's all they had. So I love that.
The last thing I want to talk about is something we talked about while watching it,
Tale
and
of Two Households.
this will be the last little bit for me is the fact that Harry solves the entire. What is that? Yeah,
Harry's a detective.
yeah. Sure, we called him Sherlock Potter for the whole thing.
Yeah.
with no magic. Like
Detective Pikachu.
once Hermione's gone, everything he thinks of is of his own accord with no magic to help him. It's all clues. It's all, which
she
is what
did
we were
nothing.
talking about earlier, which is like it's a whodunit in like the greatest sense.
Well, the cool thing is like Hermione knows the answer.
yeah.
But Harry Potter has to deduce it.
Yeah.
He has to figure it out. But
Exactly.
he knows what's going on.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool that it's a story about wizards and yet the mystery is solved with no magic whatsoever.
Right.
And they push Gilderoy to maybe his death. They don't know. They're kids.
I mean, well, a
fine.
lot of Harry Potter. I mean, once you break it down, yes, it takes place in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, the wizarding world magic, but
Yeah.
a lot of what's really draws me to Harry Potter is what happens without the
Yeah,
magic.
and I mean that specifically from that point on, there's like no magic used except by Gilderoy. Like even the I would say the sword coming to him isn't magic because he doesn't use it to like cast a spell. He has to fight it with a sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like do you know
it
what I mean?
comes to him by magic, but
Yeah.
the actual use of
But
it
he
is
doesn't
not
use
magic.
any magic.
Yeah.
So I
Deus
thought
Ex Magica.
like to the nth degree, this finale of this movie is that way, and I thought that was really cool.
Will that bring us
Agreed.
to favorite parts,
characters?
favorite
characters.
favorite side characters?
So out of the,
favorite
like, the
characters are
three-
the three main,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay.
I already know this answer.
Okay.
So my favorite of the three is Ron, for a lot of reasons and a lot of baggage coming from the previous film as well. Is that he's very
What's a sequel film?
he's very family oriented and friend oriented. Like he'll do the right thing because he should, and because he comes from a poor family. What he has and puts a lot of his worth in his relationships and the people who are close to him. And I really love that. Like in the first film, he's straight up willing to die on
Playing
that
chess.
chessboard so that Harry can continue and hopefully save Hogwarts. Like that's loyalty and friendship right there. Like he wants to be friends with Harry, before he knows that it's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He's just like, this kid's alone on a train. You mind if I come stay with you? Oh, you bought me candy. That's fucking dope. Whoa, wait, you're Harry Potter? Cool. Let's hang out.
Like you literally said that verbatim last time.
It's like that
Yeah, pretty much.
kind of thing. So like still Ron all day.
What were we saying yesterday? It's basically Will Friedle and My Date with the President's
Yeah.
Daughter.
Yeah.
You know?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Anyways, but
Yes, he was
then my
very
favorite-
good in that movie, wasn't he?
Yes, he
Tom?
was.
Favorite side character is Hagrid. As my, and like obviously special shout out to Dumbledore because this is Richard Harris's last outing and he's the perfect Dumbledore and will forever be. And I'll just copy paste him on top of Gambit's performance every day.
Richard Harris, if you're watching this, we love you. We
But
miss you.
specifically in this one, it's Hagrid.
I'm
I
gonna
guess we're gonna have to talk about that next episode.
I'm gonna bounce
the
on that.
Gambin Harris thing.
Yep.
I don't think it's a debate. It's just it is.
Well, I'm just talking about favorite characters.
Yeah.
Characters. Mine is gonna be Ron, but mainly because like again he is a little exposition-y, but like
Yeah.
in that sense, like he knows that when Malfoy calls Hermione a mudblood, he's like
Well, he gets to
"That's
explain
it."
what things are.
Yeah,
and-
he's like,
Like
well-
he just wants to stand up for his friends.
but also like
Yeah.
his wand breaks. He drives the car. He like Harry the spiders. You know, like
that was him being scared.
That was a really good impression.
he's like, why'd it have to be the spiders? And it's like, okay.
Goodbye.
Like, and that's the cool.
Hagrid's a friend of Hagrid.
And like I liked how again he's part of everything. He doesn't really know all the answers, but he knows enough to kind of like be the emotional type of how we should feel. Again, because we're following Harry and his personal story of like
Yeah.
what's a mudblood, what's petrification, what's going on, why is parcel tongue not a good thing.
Can't use
But then
the M word.
where? And then why is Ron?
Magic?
And then Ron explains it all, right?
Yeah.
And Ron also kind of acts as a way for us to know how we actually would be feeling if we knew all the rules, right?
Yeah.
Like Harry's like, I have to find a way to save Hagrid, and then Ron's like, bruh, look at all the spiders, man. We go down.
It's almost exactly like that because
Do you know any spells?
Harry's
One,
like,
but it won't work.
we go
Had
dead. And-
Hermione, Immobulus would have like solved everything.
And then like
Oh, yeah.
even when like
Just saying.
in the dueling club where it's like, okay, we should have students do it. Harry and or Mr. Potter and Weasley.
Expelliarmus only.
And then Snape says, with any wand or Ron's wand, then it will blow up anybody.
Yeah.
He's like, we'll send kids to the infirmary. I'm like,
in a
yeah, that's-
matchbox.
I was like, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Also,
like
Snape's quick turnaround.
yeah. Like how quick Ron is very almost close to like bad luck Brian as like Neville is.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Except he's a main character, so I really like that.
Yeah.
Second side is probably the evilness of Lucius. I liked a lot because they did the fucking noir thing.
Yeah.
where like the light would go. In
I
his
honestly
eyes.
thought that
Oh,
wasn't
that's
going to
yesterday.
work. And then, because I remembered it going, I was like, I don't know if that actually works. And then I watched it and I was like, fuck.
Well, it's the slow. It's the Edgar Wright slow.
Fucking
Edgar Wright does
works.
it quick, right? But then this is like the slow put in. Right?
Steps into it.
And I'm just like, God, that's really good, right? And I'm like, this is so hammy, but it's like fucking so deliciously evil.
Yeah.
yeah.
Chase and Ice
which I
Axe.
really like. And then I
Jason
guess
Isaacs.
secondly, honorable mention is Richard Harris
Yeah.
because you get the most of Dumbledore in this compared to the second one.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of that father feeling, that surrogate father feeling.
You
from
also
it.
get that thing that Dumbledore has where like even when there's imminent danger, he's able to calmly assess and figure out what we need to do.
Well, yeah, it was like
Yeah.
the silence with the troll and all that shit.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like still he's like, we must tell the
just-
students that they're not safe.
It just makes me sad with Richard Harris.
it's
Like
Jesus.
he was basically like, no, don't recast me. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Do you know why he took the role?
No, tell me.
His granddaughter. He
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
going to
yeah,
take it.
no.
And she was
Yeah.
like, Dumbledore's the shit. And he was like, all right.
Yeah.
But I really like that. Again, you got a lot of the, all father, all knowing, very calm, collected thing that like Harry really needed.
Yeah.
And it's actually like it's kind of really quite refreshing because again it stabilizes you
Yeah.
to this heightened point of like, oh my god, everything's going crazy, but he's here, so it's fine.
I mean, one thing that I want to kind of talk about just real quick because I'm going to be really honest and forthcoming right here.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the debate between Gambin and Harris.
I don't
But
think
what I'm going to say
we're going to have
is
a debate. But
no. But what I wanted to say is that the first couple aren't really about Dumbledore, so we
Right.
don't get to have Dumbledore as much. It's when we do start getting into the darker parts of the series, and so it's like Dumbledore all day, every day will always be the shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 No matter who's playing him, I'm like,
Man, he's
Dumbledore.
cool.
Dumbledore.
I mean, he is just
Jude Law was so good.
he is the wizard I would like to be when I grow up.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he is just when I'm like 150 years old, like that's what I want to be.
Right.
versus Gandalf.
Well, and what you
Gandalf all
learn,
day.
I won't get into specifics, but
not
you know
gonna
what
bring
you
that in.
learn later on in the series is that he is a more conflicted and
Yeah.
flawed person than we thought.
Yeah, and so with these two,
But he
these
chose to
first
grow
two,
from it.
he chose to grow for the greater good.
for these first couple of movies, it's like you don't get to see that yet, and it's
Well, you don't. Well, the
But
thing
it
is,
is so good. Of course he is.
The thing is, like, you get him as like a 2-dimensional character. You don't get him as a 3-dimensional character.
yeah,
Right.
And so
you don't get the meat and
wanna see who did the
potatoes.
voice of
Well, yeah,
Aragog.
it's kind of like, you know, we don't see Tom Riddle yet. We
Yeah.
see him as like he's still evil, but we don't understand why.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
So I mean,
That's why he's a side
I mean, I love. I'm always gonna. I mean, he's an honorable mention always. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just kind of be like. But if I'm gonna pick a side character, I'm picking my side character first. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
Go for it.
I love watching Kenneth Branagh do Gilderoy Lockhart.
That's really
I know that he's a douchey person,
But he does it so well.
but he does it so well.
He does
that
it
just-
likable. Like
Yeah.
he's likable.
Yeah.
yeah.
On that, anyone at home that's listening or anyone's watching, and I feel bad because you guys don't know, but DC Comics, he'd be the perfect Booster Gold. But none of you
Yeah,
guys know who
I
that
can
is.
see it.
He's a fraud superhero.
I do know
Oh,
who
okay.
he is.
He's from the
actually.
future. Okay. Thank you, Caitlin, for acknowledging that. But he's a
I do
fraud.
want to point out that Aragog is actually Julian Glover from like Star Wars and Game of Thrones, and he's this guy in Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And he's this guy in Star Wars. Like he's
Wow.
super famous.
Oh, wow.
Look him up.
Wow.
When you do the video version, can you put those up?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
people can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
them.
Right now, when we're talking.
Yeah.
But also Booster Gold for Gilderoy.
Oh, yeah.
Kenneth Branagh.
But Kenneth Branagh and also Filch, the actor that plays Filch, is just he's just the little stuff.
What's
that
the
I
line?
just-
And this may be the last.
This may be the last time you see this castle. It's not like that. He's just got such a
last
good
night.
voice.
I think it's the last night you spend inside this castle.
Oh, these
Played by-
walls.
Yeah, that's
It's
what it
just
is.
in
when
these
he
walls, I'm like that.
Just when he says things like, "Oh dear."
we are in trouble.
Played by David Bradley.
And I
Yeah.
want some punishment.
I'll kill you.
What's-
I respect that.
With the,
So good.
I respect that.
So and then favorite character. I mean, I'm a Hermione fan.
Fanatic.
Friend.
Fanatic.
Yeah. Frenetic.
I love her. I love Hermione. I just love what she does. But yeah, we'll move on past me.
Ali or Caitlin?
For me, it's Ron for the same reasons as Corey mentioned. My side character is
Diva.
I just had it in my head. God damn it.
Sprout.
No,
Crookshanks.
no, you go next, then and I'll
Oh
come
my
back to it.
God, Ollie.
My main character is going to be Hermione because she like has the plan. She knows what she's doing. It's Ron and Harry that like kind of make her, I don't know, bring the like fun to her life because otherwise she'd be all education all the time.
Yeah.
And I think she would lose her ability to enjoy life past studying.
Yeah.
But I really like that she's like knowledgeable. She's on top of her shit to the point
Oh,
where she
yeah.
gets herself in trouble.
Yeah.
Pretty much dies.
Pretty much dies, but she's fine. It's fine.
fine.
And then
There's no stake.
favorite side character, Lucius Malfoy,
Mm.
because I had a huge crush on him. He's fucking crazy. He's warped
Yeah.
out of his mind.
Super
For
racist.
sure. Super racist. Don't like that about him.
Oh, these bloody rights.
I was just in that phase when I was 12 where like long-haired vampire
Sephiroth
as
looking-
fuck.
Sephiroth,
Like,
yeah. I had
interview
a
with the
type.
vampire and
like I
stuff,
had
yeah.
a type hardcore.
Gotcha.
and I was just-
Alucard as fuck.
Yes.
What
Anyway.
was the name that we thought would be funny if it was that?
Jonathan.
Benjamin.
Jonathan.
My favorite side character is Snape.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
let's see.
Because I mean, I don't talk about it.
Again?
I don't talk about his performance, but it's amazing.
Oh, I
And
love Snape.
And plus, Expelliarmus.
Expelliarmus was epic.
Expelliarmus.
It took me back. I felt like I got hit by Expelliarmus.
What is
I was
its
like, God damn.
motivation?
It's
a rock, it doesn't have any
Just them
motivation.
being scolded at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that was
It's really good.
really tense scene.
But you could see like he's a little like hurt about it too. Because
Yeah.
he closes the book and I'm like, damn.
Tom.
Mikey.
Oh yeah, did you go yet?
Oh, quick
Side.
No, I'll let Tom
So
go.
sorry.
I already went.
Oh, you already
I have a
went.
quick
hasn't
theory
gone?
craft
No.
thing,
But yes.
but
Yes.
I'll ask you after you go.
Favorite characters, favorite side characters.
Goodness.
Mikey.
Okay.
Go.
Well, I'm always a big Ron Weasley fan.
You are wrong.
Especially because of Harry Potter musical where he's hilarious.
Well, that's one reason. Gosh. Shout out to that guy. Normally I know his name.
Very Potter musical.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to come
Grint.
back to it. Yes, Rupert Grint in a Very Potter musical. I like Ron because he's just like he's halfway always thinking, but always like not
half baked.
Not
He's
quite.
just
Half
kind
baked,
of-
half cocked.
He's kind of like
He's in the moment. He's
just
present.
He's so present. He pays attention.
Oh, you actually do want to go into the forest. I thought you were kidding.
Yeah. Oh, this is great, guys. Yeah. Oh, spiders. I just like him because, well, he plays the sidekick well, and you don't see him complain yet about it. But I would say
He's very Jimmy.
I would say he's the
Olsen.
easiest for me to relate to. I'm not a Harry. I'm not a Hermione. I'm like the
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
you
like
are.
the star guy's buddy, who's there to like throw a joke in here and there and maybe buy an extra
Niles.
candy bar for you.
Just be in the background when Harry says something going, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're the best of the biz, Harry. Awesome. Yeah, all right.
You're the kind of guy who would say, eat slugs.
Yeah, I'm the guy who would probably enjoy it.
Fun
though.
fact, they were chocolate, lemon, and raspberry flavored slugs. That
Yeah.
he got to spit out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I
You
wondered.
got to pick.
I did wonder.
Yummy.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of good.
Favorite side character?
Favorite side character. I will say my forever favorite side character is Filch. Especially in the fourth one when you really get to see like his comedic, not approach, but like you see that
Yeah.
personality that he really is a freaking numbskull.
But in the second one,
But in the second one, I love him still in the second one. But my favorite side character is
Well, you
Arthur
get some
Weasley.
emotion from him
You do.
in this one because his cat.
Yeah, I mean,
His cat is-
he's terrifying, but like he actually does have some like human.
Lovable
Why can't I think of the
qualities.
cat's name right now?
Mrs. Norris.
Mrs. Norris.
Norris.
but he's also
I was
an
like,
asshole in Game of
Mrs.
Thrones.
Well, he's also
Oh,
a
yeah.
squib, but it's never mentioned in the in the movie, and that's
Actually,
why he's so
is it
pissed off.
extended?
Extended version.
The
Oh, is
extended
it?
version,
Okay.
there's like a little bit of something, and that's the thing is,
But
like,
it's extended.
Well, his
But
big grudge
yeah.
against Harry was that Harry read when Harry was in his office. He was trespassing in his office. He found the
that's what you
book.
do.
So the whole series, Filch knows that Harry knows, and it's like this awkward thing. That's why he hates him
hey,
so
man.
much.
Hey.
Hey, dude, did you read that thing on my
Did
desk?
you cast spells today?
You read those test results?
You? Sometimes.
Hey,
All
man.
right.
So I read your diary.
Oh, no.
But I love Arthur
Fucked
Weasley. He from the big like the moment you meet him, he is so enthralled that like his kids took the car out. Like he's
Oh, yeah.
such an
That scene
anti-dad.
was
How'd it go?
No, that's
What
that's
exactly is
that's a
the
big
function
dad.
of
That's
a
real
rubber
big-
duck?
That's a big dad.
I thought the actor, I cannot remember his name to save
From
my
101
life.
Dalmatians.
From 101 Dalmatians. He just brought such a warm presence that he and Molly just, I'll say Molly too. They're my two favorites because
Mark Williams.
they knew how to raise their family. They didn't
Call her
have
by her
much.
pet name.
They just scream love, and
Yeah.
the thing that I always compliment my mother on is that she knows how to love me and my brother differently according to what we need, and I feel that from the Weasley parents. And they like what like she totally changes her whole face to.
We were talking about
acknowledge
that
Harry.
moment you're at a friend's house when the parent yells at your friend and you're like, oh shit. And then they turn to you and they're like, oh, good seeing you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
That is such a thing where it's
It's like,
like,
can I
what
get
the
you anything?
fuck?
Do you want like water? Are you guys good? Like, oh my God, you just
but
yelled
fuck
at my
you.
friend.
You
Yeah.
go to your room and you're like,
And it's that, they
you
do
can
that
hang out
moment
with us,
twice,
Harry,
'cause
but
then
you
she
go to
gets
your
the
fucking room.
howler and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, and Ginny Weasley, congratulations on getting into Gryffindor.
yeah.
So proud of you.
and I are so proud.
What's her pet name?
I won't say when you learn it, but you do learn that Mr. Weasley's greatest ambition in life is to find out how airplanes stay up, and Molly's pet name from Mr. Weasley is Molly Wobbles. And I think it's the
Molly
Cutest thing in the world.
It's the two sweetest things in the world. How like almost childlike they are.
Yeah.
I thought it was Bellatrix Killer.
I call her the bitch lady because she got to say bitch in the book.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I just love Arthur Weasley and his golden heart.
So Ron's your fave, and then
I relate the most to Ron.
and then your second. Or
He said
side-
Filch.
Filch.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I would say Forever Filch, but Arthur Weasley's just he's
Also
so
good.
sweet.
The
He's
Weasley
just so
family.
sweet.
That brings us to Tom's favorite part.
One of my
Oh, wait,
favorite.
wait.
Character.
Yeah.
Craft
Oh,
theory.
well, it's kind of, and I kind of already debunked it myself, but
Nice.
I was thinking,
Good.
is Snape
Solid.
holding?
Way to sell it.
Is Snape like he's like, if it was my up to me, you'd be on the train back home. Is he at all trying to get him to not be there? That
Yeah,
year?
he's trying to save him. He's always trying to save Harry.
Well, that's kind of, I guess that's my thing.
Yeah.
Is like, is that
He's
kind of
he's playing both sides
a
essentially. Yeah.
front-facing
I
thing
think again, he
in the
doesn't
books?
fucking like him, but he has to save him.
Yeah.
I would say, Ollie, if you knowing what you know about Snape, if you were to go rewatch the series and focus on all of his motivations, then yeah, Yeah, it's
Without
probably-
spoiling anything.
Without
Yeah.
spoiling anything, you probably will watch
You
Snape
get
a
the
little
hints.
differently.
Yeah.
It's like watching The Sixth Sense again.
Yeah.
Once you know the twist, you're like
100%.
You start going, oh.
Well, yeah, that's like that's
Oh.
kind of the point of films.
I
Like,
think
when
this
you
is the
get to
first
read-
time I've
Yeah.
seen the
A
older
moment.
movies after 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen
So going back with information.
Again, that's the
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
point. You're supposed to
I'm just gonna be
re-examine
like-
the world.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Exactly. 100%.
But why?
Por qué no? So this brings us to
Qualms.
our quimquams.
Clams.
I have some. I'll
Go
get
for it, Tom.
started. Shit. Let me check out my notes real quick.
All right, so I'll go.
Nope. So at the very end, during the third act, during the fight with the basilisk.
Yeah, the basilisk.
Go ahead. I thought it was just a little tonally all over the place a little bit. There's some parts where it's like horror. There's some part where it's comedy. So with any part with Gilderoy, and it's kind of like it's because of the ingredients involved in the scenes. And I'm like, that's whatever. But there's some parts where it's like, I'm running, I got the sword, and then all of a sudden it's like, done, and then all of a sudden you see Fox, and then like the whimsy sound comes in. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be feeling.
Oh,
Right? So it's like it's not like
It's kind of
fucking terrible.
Start and stop kind
yeah,
of thing.
it's not like "Ah!" But it's more like I think just one tone would be great. One
Yeah.
tone would be great, just a little bit more focus.
You said for that third act fight.
Yes, just in the third
Specifically?
act fight specifically. Because I mean, like you have like the whimsical sound when the car is going, or when the train's there,
Yeah.
da 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 da, and then like the evil sound when diagonally and all that shit. So it's like cool. But then that part was just like
It was
all
too
of the
flip-floppy.
sounds are everywhere.
Flip-floppy. It was too flip-floppy. Got
I
it.
mean, like because they have really great high tension parts where like the basilisk is blind and like trying to sniff him out, and he throws the rock.
I did like the shadows because like how else would Harry check if it was blind?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
I was like, dope.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And I had this weird thing rewatching it this recent time, and it's obviously because it's the book, right? But it was just really interesting because I was thinking about, I was like, oh, this is when she turns into a cat, like Hermione turns into a cat. Oh, she's gonna be out of the story for a little bit. Okay, just take this fucking character out, might as well. And then I was like, oh, also she's petrified. It's like, yeah, you know, just write this character out of the fucking film, why don't you? Right? It's like let's just take her out of the third act because we don't fucking need her. But then like you get to understand the reason why is because you need to have Harry and Ron stand on their own accolades a little bit instead of being kind of boosted by Hermione, which hopefully is taken in that sense. But it was just felt very weird that it's like, let's remove. It just felt very weird. It's like let's do everything we can to get her out
You
of
get
the
to
film.
develop
Right.
their relationship more too,
Yeah.
of just having the two boys, like
Yeah.
their friendship and sometimes, I mean, imagine if you there's a world of people that love the Harry Potter movies that have never read the books,
Right.
And so you still have to understand that these are movies,
And you're welcome
in their
here too.
in their own right, and so they still have to be good movies.
Yeah.
and so
Right.
that end
My
part is
wife
like
was
you're-
that of that cloth, and she
Yeah.
has just started. She just finished the third book, actually. So-
Uncultured swine.
I have
Anyways,
a question for Tom and what you just said. Do you find that maybe it's a little bit manipulative? I mean, it establishes maybe that Harry and Ron can sort of do things without Hermione. So moving forward, they're not like completely dependent on her to
because
figure
the
things
first
out.
film they are.
It's
Yeah, she
complicated.
figures everything
It's
out.
complicated because she's a mudblood, and so you have to draw the
Rude.
stakes close, right?
Well, you're saying like a mudblood can't be as good a wizard?
No, as in like
Alright.
if everyone, I'm this character that takes pictures.
Yeah.
I'm this ghost. It's like we haven't seen you. Like I don't give a shit if you're petrified. But Hermione is part of the gang, so you have to draw the stakes closer in.
Right.
But that also brings me into another conversation piece. I don't think it's like bad. It's the Corey. I like how you brought it up. It's like it's kind of like calling BS on everything being coincidence. Like, and that's a tough thing with movies and stories. Is like you can't. Oh, well, it's such a coincidence. You happen to be there on this bridge
Yeah.
and see this thing. It's like, well, it's a coincidence that no one fucking died.
Yeah.
That everyone I'm just going to put a sheet over my eyes and never be killed by
Wait,
things.
yeah.
I think Corey and I both were about to say the same thing. It's a miracle that Professor Lockhart didn't die when they pushed him off the fucking ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
was gonna
became
say
murderers real
they were
fucking
just like,
quick.
let's check it out. What if he died? They were like, oh, okay, we can jump
What if
down.
it's just spikes?
yeah. Like
it's down there.
that part was I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Or like how frustrated was the basilisk? Like I can understand one or two times being like, oh, they looked in a reflection. I get it. But like the fourth one, he's like, fuck, man, I petrified another person. And then the fifth person, he's like, serious, I can't kill anyone anymore.
sucks.
What are the odds that he was looking through a fucking camera?
You're the worst hitman ever, Snake.
Yeah, I mean, and I think as well as like there's
Salad bar
there's an
slices.
interesting line to be towed too with the basilisk of, and it's like in the book you never see the basilisk actually petrify somebody, right? But
the
in the movie you
aftermath.
don't see that either too, right? But it also plays in the same fear of like Jaws. The less you see, the more is scarier,
Right.
But it's kind of like those tunnels. I have not seen them enter through a hallway. How the fuck did you actually get out? So those are just questions that are rambling in my head while I'm watching it and don't get too resolved.
Yeah.
But those are it.
I had a qualm.
Yeah.
And I actually have to read an excerpt from Pottermore for it.
Shit. Pottermore, for those at home, is an online website J.K. Rowling made so people can explore the fandoms.
Ravenclaw.
So the question I had was about why is the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets in the girls' room?
Maybe it wasn't the girls' room at the beginning.
And it wasn't. But
Because Salazar probably was like, this is my house. And
Yeah.
it's like, fuck you, we're making it a girls' restroom now.
when first created, the chamber was accessed through the When first created, the chamber was accessed through a concealed trap door and a series of magical tunnels. However, when Hogwarts plumbing became more elaborate in the 18th century, this was a rare instance of wizards copying muggles, because hitherto they simply relieved themselves wherever they stood and vanished the evidence. The entrance to the chamber was threatened, being located on the side of proposed bathroom, and then it ended up being a girl's restroom.
Yeah.
But that was where JK dropped the knowledge that wizards vanished their poop.
Yeah.
Why
Why wouldn't
not?
you?
Why
Why
ever
wouldn't you?
even tell
Because
us?
You
Why
don't have
wouldn't
to
you?
waste water. You don't have to kill trees for toilet paper. Like
True.
you're fine.
Wizards are environmentally sound.
Well,
Yeah,
think about
totally.
this: being normal potty trained versus being wizard potty trained
Expect
is a little bit more different.
Expect poop.
Patronum.
Oh, anywho,
Yeah.
I just thought that little factoid nugget was good to share.
I like how that-
good to
Expecto-pooptronum.
enjoy.
And that's it. I would have to think at that point the basilisk isn't born yet,
oh no,
because I think the basilisk will still be like a baby because it could live for hundreds of years, right? In the 1800s, it's probably still like just a regular anaconda.
The world may never
Whatever.
know.
Ava diarrhea.
I have a big one. And maybe this is something y'all can answer for me because it's been a while since I read the book.
Been a while.
But in the movie,
Wow.
how come Tom Riddle can pick up Harry's wand but not really do anything else to stop him from all the things that he's doing to ruin his plan?
He's not at his
so
final
like,
form.
so like, yeah, he could pick up the wand and he can like cast enough spell to like write in it, but he can't like when Harry gets the hat, he can't be like, also give me that shit.
Expelliarmus.
Do you know what I mean? Like he can't be like, don't touch that hat. I don't know what it's for, but I don't trust it.
He's definitely older
Like-
than him too, so you can push him around. He
Like,
can be a fucking
well,
wolf.
Yeah.
I want to say it's his own arrogance. He looks
Yeah.
at it and goes, "Oh, a fucking hat, cool, man.
Yeah, he
How's
thinks
that going to
it's-
help you?"
But
he
like-
thinks it's useless.
Like, yeah, but there's just so many moments he could have just literally grabbed Harry or done like,
right.
fuck
Well,
off.
but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that the thing, the great plight of Voldemort or
Yeah.
Tom Riddle
His hubris.
Yeah,
it's
his hubris.
And
Yes.
so
I learned that
he sees
word
a hat
recently.
and he's like, okay,
Your
it's, to
arrogance.
him, Harry Potter is just a child.
Yeah. I'm
So
assuming
he doesn't think that anything is going to stop
Yeah.
him. A hat shows up. Who cares?
Yeah.
You can do
What? Oh, there's a sword in the hat.
Who cares?
Look at my fucking huge snake.
Yeah.
So he doesn't think
But also
anything
look at my
could
basilisk.
possibly happen. He is so convinced that he is going to win that anything that Harry does, he's not
Yeah.
going to be like, "Hey, kid." He doesn't care.
That's
He thinks
the
he
question.
is
I think
so
it's less of a qualm,
powerful.
more of a question.
It could have
that-
been. It could have been translated better.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
I can
so.
see that.
I agree with
I
that.
like to think, to me, with that, it's understandable, and I think there's a lot of evidence
Yeah.
that proves it. I think the tough thing with that, it makes Voldemort a little dumber for me, and I don't like that. For me, I like to think
Yeah.
he isn't at his full power. He
Yeah.
hasn't fully drained Ginny yet, so
Right.
he can't do like Expelliarmus. He can't
Right.
do this.
Yeah.
He can't push
he-
somebody. He
he-
can pick up a wand.
Well, he can physically do things.
What do you do physically?
Picked up a wand.
He picked
So
up
he
a
can
wand.
interact with
But
the physical
but I
world.
feel like he couldn't push somebody that. You know what I mean? Like there's a different level of strength. It's kind of like baby legs, baby
I
walking.
don't know. 'Cause
That's what I
you're
wanna
interacting
think.
with the physical world at that point.
You think there's like a black and white? It's like once you could touch it, like I could do everything.
Yeah, because you're
I think
interacting
there's
with
a
the
limit.
physical world at that point.
I like there's a
How much
spectrum of it.
How much of him is in the memory of Tom Riddle?
enough
Well,
to
it's
pick
all
up a
because-
wand.
Well, no, it's
Wow.
enough. It's enough for him to know
That's
he
really
became
gonna.
Voldemort.
That's gonna be the thing.
He
The
died.
wand.
He remembers every single moment until he died. So he knows that like Harry killed him, quote unquote. So he knows everything of being in the Dark Lord.
okay.
My real qualm, though, that was more of like a question of just
Yeah.
like, why didn't he do more to stop Harry? But hubris is a perfect answer for me. That's fine. And I know this isn't in the book, and it's the reason it bothers me so much is that 10 steps outside of Dumbledore's office, Lucius is about to cast the killing curse.
yeah.
Right.
Lemon sherbet.
Like,
I'll
in
join you
what
on that.
world? In what world do you think you're about to get away with killing a kid outside of Dumbledore's office on school grounds, on Hogwarts school grounds? Yeah.
Can I add to the qualm because
Yeah.
I agree. I was reading something about it, and because it was improv, he read the book, and that was the only thing that he could remember. And so it's kind of like one of those things that like I get he's intense, but that's real
It's a little
intense.
over the
It
top.
was real stupid.
Is it Jason Isaacs we remember, or is that the
Jason Isaacs.
Steve Kloves?
Not
Okay.
to mention, Lucius Malfoy would be able to perform nonverbal spells at this point.
Yeah.
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 But also, that's just really scary for him to say that. Just it's like, oh, what's
Yeah.
he gonna do?
Yeah.
A fucking
And then
Nosferatu shit.
My other small qualm is that Dobby saves his life, and Harry proceeds to the first thing he says to Dobby is, "Don't ever try to save my life again." I'm like, you ungrateful prick. He literally just saved you from the killing curse. Like, I get the joke that like Dobby caused a lot of issues.
Did that
but
happen?
like,
That happened right after that? Or that
Yeah.
happened
Yeah,
before? Okay.
right after.
right after he goes, "Thank you, Master Potter," and he goes, "Dobby, just never try to save my life again." I'd be like, "Oh, okay, Avada Kedavra, like kill him then, like do it, Dobby. I don't give a
fu-
shit
it's kinda
anymore."
Like, it's kind of when you open.
Fuck Harry Potter and his hubris.
It's kind of like when you open the door for somebody and they just walk in. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no,
Push 'em back
excuse
in.
me,
Like-
thank you, okay, goodbye.
yeah. That for some reason that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Get
And I
real
was like,
comfortable over here,
just
Harry.
fucking say thank you to Dobby. Like, whatever.
Well, he's
Yeah.
the famous Harry Potter.
Well,
Who
Harry
gives a
Potter
fuck?
is
He's the famous Jet Jackson.
12.
That's true.
So the thing that's most important to him is being
But
at
he's
school.
humbled and he knows manners and he's
He
does.
thinks shitty houses are brilliant, so he
No,
should know
I
that
get that,
saving
but
my
I-
life is.
yeah.
They
Fucking
do
You're
You're
have
not
like,
going to change my mind on
they
this.
do
It's
have,
an
like-
asshole move on Harry Potter's.
even if it is,
He's a little shit.
he's-
Corey, calm down.
No,
guys. You're
I love Dobby,
green
and he's
over
being
here.
a piece of shit to
Corey's
Dobby.
getting green.
I'll kill you.
I want to see some punishment.
To this day.
I'm sorry about that.
spiraling out
I
of
just
control.
didn't think we
Really
needed that
apologize.
line. That's all.
fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Any other
That's fair.
quotes?
There's a couple times
No
where I
Batman?
thought
Where
it
there
was
wasn't
setting
Batman.
up. There wasn't Batman, and I was like, "What's
There was a
going
bat
on
cave,
here?"
but where's Batman?
No, it was. I felt like some of the plot points were very convenient, and like the setups were like there to set up a very convenient payoff kind of thing. Like with Mrs. Sprouts, the teacher.
Yeah.
I was like, we're focusing on this because this is going to matter later. And the scene itself, I don't think really did enough to merit its own. Like, it didn't have like character
felt like a
development or
cutaway,
something
not a
else going
scene.
away. It was like, this is the only purpose the scene felt like it was serving was to set up these mandrakes and stuff, which I guess is important. But it just kind of accentuates the fact that like some of them, not the fact, but my interpretation that a lot of the scenes were set up to just conveniently help the plot later.
Compared to, let's say, the first one, right? With,
Compared to the first one,
with
yeah.
Madam Hooch, who does the Quidditch.
Right.
Where it
Yeah.
shows like, this is Quidditch, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and here's Woods, and da-da-da-da-da, right? So it shows like a lot happening in there versus this is like, I'm Professor Sprouts, put your headphones on, these are fucking
like the scene in the first one where they're levitating things.
The viewer saw.
That's building Hermione's character, right? A lot more. And I felt like independently that scene serves the purpose of that. But then it also
The only
pays off
argument I
later
can
on.
think of is world building, but that's it.
Yeah, world building.
I mean,
but it just
I
felt,
think-
but it could be a limitation because I mean it's almost 3 hours and
Right.
there probably wasn't a whole lot of time or space for just living in the world to make it feel
Yeah.
So it had
Not
to
as
hand in hand
convenient.
go with plot.
Yeah.
I think also to that same point of what you liked of Happy Birthday, Harry, it kind of fills in the same point of like consistency of like, here's a class that we haven't seen before. So it kind of like checks the box.
it checks the box.
And Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, is the part where they're doing the study hall and they're just looking at each other and then he says, well, I'm just going to go back to the common room. Is that in the extended? Because that scene's in, I watched the extended
Yeah.
recently and I can't tell if that's in theatrical
Well,
or not.
because the extended includes an extended version of that scene because I feel so bad for these actors because there was this whole back
Dialogue.
and forth
Oh, they
dialogue
explaining like how he's a parcel tongue and he's dangerous.
and
he
people
is-
explaining kind of the backstory of Partial Tongue and all this kind of stuff,
like-
which was cut from the
have
theatrical.
you ever known a dark wizard that didn't speak parcel
which
tongue?
makes sense. And there's these like two unknown kids that
Yeah.
are just
The
talking.
Hufflepuff kids.
Yeah, and you're like, oh man, I
Justin
feel
Finch Fletchley. Is that
Yeah,
the one
they're
we
just
were
like talking. No, it's
it's not
it's
a
in the
kid.
library, and Harry overhears.
the outtake or the deleted scene.
Yeah,
we
Mike
it's
and I
in
were
the
talking
extended
about that,
yesterday.
and we because I like the idea of that, and then I guess my only thing is that I think it gets covered in the next scene where no one will look at him,
Kind
not
of,
even
but
Ron and Hermione.
There's
will
such
look
a
at him.
theme in the movie about outcasts,
Well-
and Harry becomes an outcast
So
for
the
like
scene-
most of the book.
The shot before
Yeah.
that is Harry and all them next to McGonagall and all stuff, and they're doing study hall, and then everyone's just looking at him doing nothing, and he's like, "I'm going to take this to the common room," and that's
Yeah.
when he hears
Yeah.
this basilisk for the first
Right,
time.
right.
Yeah.
But inside of that scene is the part where we're talking about. So like, yeah, I could see why they take it out, but it does add to a little bit more of a world building in a better
Yeah.
sense of like just here's the fucking Sprouts.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a part in a Harry Potter musical that just piggybacking on Ollie. The
I like piggyback
element
on
of foreshadowing and how heavy it is in Harry Potter, like
Yeah.
in the movies. There's a point in Harry Potter musical where Snape is teaching the students things, and he mentions foreshadowing. And they're like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, you'll find out." And it's just funny that like that is a real device that they use.
You
in the
don't
movie.
call it foreshadowing.
I call it call forwarding.
Wow.
I'm real fun, guys.
Oh my
really,
God.
I'm a fun champ.
Mikey, do you have any qualms?
Okay, so I'm kind of with Corey's qualm.
I like
I'm-
the movie.
I'm gonna play Scott Evil as well, and I will call my dad out for not killing Austin Powers every fucking chance that he had. Because that's Voldemort. He never just kills Harry when he has a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Because he tried once.
It's
and,
diabolical
didn't
villain
work.
thing.
But as the stories envelop, you kind of discover why he can't just kill Harry. But
Yeah.
I will jump on that, even though we kind of know why.
Yeah.
I would say. It's the focus on Ginny, the contrast between the book and the movie. You get to, and I know Corey explained it to me better yesterday, but
Go for it.
Ginny plays that awkwardness the whole movie, and you think it's because she likes Harry a lot.
Well, at first
the
you do.
reason is because she's in a trance and she's embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
They don't really focus on her in the movie so much, so you don't really know, or you're never given an opportunity to know that she might be behind
She's the
it.
perfect
Oh,
like
there's never a
non-suspect.
Oh.
Are you
There's
talking about
one-
how we talked about it because it's like some things translate from
Yeah.
on the page that don't translate on the screen.
Yeah.
So if you had given
Yeah.
more time to that, everyone like 30 minutes in would have been like, oh, it's fucking Ginny.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's
that's a good-
100% Ginny.
There's one example in the book. The roosters are missing, and then they find rooster feathers in
Yeah.
her stuff because
There's
the
a lot more
basilisk.
hints.
It's very
And then like in the
Basilisk-
And
book,
you
she
can't show
doesn't-
that they hate roosters.
Roosters. And I watched it again the other night and I realized when he like really blatantly puts his finger on the page and is like, spiders are afraid of basilisks. Right below it, if he had taken the time to read a little lower, it also says, and basilisks hate the crow of roosters.
Yeah.
I've been like, 10 more seconds, dude. Just read
Just
the
read
whole
a little
page.
bit more.
He just found what he wanted and went, great.
When was that?
It's when he's showing Ron the paper that Hermione had.
The picture of it that was
okay,
crumpled
that was
up in her
crumpled in
hand.
her
Yeah, He literally puts his finger across it, but under his finger it says "Basilisks fear the crow of roosters."
I lightweight thought that same piece of paper was the same one that Draco Malfoy ripped out of the book,
book
and
a
then
long
put in his
time ago?
pocket.
That piece of shit move.
Yeah.
And I was like, what book was that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I would say like this one would be the one movie I really don't have that many qualms. I thought like with the time limit that they have and the information that they were trying to convey, we'll say, and then call forwarding to more movies in the future. I thought it was good, man. I liked it. I didn't not like anything. Like in the
course.
first
Alright.
movie, they kind of like would combine scenes to tell the story, and I sometimes think that's a little bit manipulative. But
Yeah.
I did my one qualm, and I think it's fair, and I will take it to my grave. Arthur Weasley punches Lucius in the bookstore, and that didn't happen in the movie. And my 12-year-old self wanted to see it really bad.
Yep.
But that's it. That's really it. I loved the
They
movie.
want diplomacy.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things directing wise is the movie opens up coming into a window, and the movie ends leaving a window. I thought that was cool.
Well, it goes to a window, not into it. The
Well,
third one
it
does
doesn't go in.
inside.
Oh, it's the third one,
Third
isn't it?
one
When he's
goes
Loomis.
inside.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I
Because they do
remembered
all have
wrong.
the clock tower.
Josh.
If no one else has any of the qualms,
I have a couple of qualms, and they're
Okay.
just there. It's the reaching kind of thing where it's like it's my baggage.
mine are reaching. I wanted to throw that out there.
Baggage
Yeah.
qualms are
Except for the
essentially
Harry
things like
What a dick.
qualms for the whole series is always being like, you didn't include Peeves. For this particular one, the Death Day party, I would have.
Oh
loved to
my
have seen that.
gosh!
Oh,
Would
wow.
have loved to have
Dope.
seen that.
I totally forgot about that.
That was a huge part.
100%.
Not even an
You-
extended shot. Or
Well, you
deleted
only
scene.
see John
They cut
Cleese
it,
one time, and
Yeah.
it's when he tips the cap, aka
tips
his
his head.
head. The Death Day party is a real moment to
Yeah.
get to know nearly headless Nick and how like cast out he
Yeah.
is. The whole story's about castaways, and there's many
Outcasts.
outcasts. What is a
Outcasts.
castaway?
That's Tom Hanks. That's Tom Hanks.
You were so
Sorry, I'm very loud.
Son of a bitch, Wilson.
You are
Everyone at home's ears bleeding.
Yep.
And
I
then
apologize.
I'm gonna have to declip that.
I am sorry for the way that I am.
Yeah.
Stop being you.
You cast away.
Yeah, how dare you? Get out of here.
I'm sorry.
So
Get
yeah.
the hell out.
You get my castaway.
I don't. Yeah, there was that. I mean, the Filch squib thing. I mean, would have been a fun exploration of Filch, but I mean,
Castaway.
I get the Castaway thing. I just think it's interesting that they made one of the shortest books one of the longest movies,
Yeah.
and it's
And
like
one of the lowest budgets.
and it's like
Who knew?
Well, they
so
put a bunch
I
of
kind of
page.
give them again all
That's
of my
a million. That's a million. That's
my
a million.
qualms are things that are like I've been thinking about what we say here, where it's like, I'm glad that it got made.
Oh yeah. It's
Oh,
very-
yeah.
And it's their run. It's like, it's Harry Potter. I'm in.
Yeah.
It has essentially the same-ish story. I'm
I'm
in.
in.
Let's do it.
You're not gonna put all
Can't.
books.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
Books
well, the thing
to film,
I'm going to quote
I just-
Sir Ian McKellen here again. In a book, you can write one sentence that says 5 armies marched onto a field. You can't show that in less than like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So you
Yeah.
have to find things to cut out in order to contain it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
It's about
So-
300,000 per page, or yeah,
Oh, you're working out the.
he just
Yeah.
it's a $100 million production.
My brain just hurt so bad. I
Yeah.
thought you were saying words per page. I was like, what the fuck book did you get?
So
It's
Special
2
edition.
pages long.
it really is. It really is
Enough
just
to scroll.
and I mean to
scrolls.
call forward to later episodes.
it's sticking
for
now.
Harry Potter is that it's gonna be hard for me to really find qualms. So for this, it's reaching.
Yeah,
And
I think
I
most
think
of mine
they
are
did-
reaching too. I mean, except for the Killing Curse one.
I like to think that your qualms are like from a Harry Potter book fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about
yeah.
qualms and like
I'll jump on that
things
Josh
I talk
train.
about. Yeah, wherever.
I mean, the thing is, they brilliantly cast.
Yeah.
Brilliantly
Oh, yeah.
cast.
Colin
There's,
Creevy
there's
was
so many
amazing.
things
Oh.
about this.
Actually,
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
I'll
Colin
say it
Creevy.
again. Colin Creevy wrecked that shit, dude. He was on it.
I will say,
Dude, murked.
in the last episode we talked about like child actors and all that stuff. Felt like a lot of reads. There was a lot of parts where I caught that more. In this one, I was like, it sounds like you're just reading.
Yeah.
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 It was a lot more.
They get better
rampant.
as we go along.
well,
Yeah.
it was weird because like I felt like
felt
the
like it
acting
was
in the
better
first
in
one
this
was.
one.
I felt like it was the other way around.
Really?
I was like, wow.
Maybe you were
I
just
thought-
more aware of it.
I thought the other
No,
way
it
around.
just threw me off
Yeah.
because I was just like, "Ugh." Say that one more time, and I rewound, and I was like, "Ugh, this sounds weird."
You know, but
anyways,
on the other hand, like you have the adults, and they all are so different and very big in their personalities. Like Professor Sprout, she's so enthusiastic, and you can tell in her voice. But it seems like all the adult characters are very, very extreme in what they are, and
specific.
it's
Sending
fun
love-
for a kid to watch.
Can I just
that.
send some love to Maggie Smith?
God,
Oh, yeah,
she
that's
really-
my
McGonagall,
Yes.
because like when I read the books, that's who I thought of, and then the movies came
great.
out, and I went, perfect, cool.
Sassy McSass pants.
Yeah.
I think Josh and I've said it before, and I told Corey, and I said I wouldn't say it on this episode because I said it in the last one. You want the movies to be as good and as accurate as the books because you want the people who don't read the books to know how fucking good they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're lazy.
Yeah.
But now
this brings us to
the rate.
ratings.
So 2 on Corey,
2 on Corey, 2 on Tom, 2 on Ollie. I took a note.
Alphabetical.
Oh, alphabetical for those who have not been
Yeah,
noted
so
on.
it's going to be Mikey, Josh, and Kaylin. So Kaylin, you're first.
Yeah.
I choose a 4.9.
There you go. There you go.
I really liked it a lot.
Josh?
It's a 5.
Okay.
There's, as we have said, wouldn't change a thing. Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, the movie.
Yeah.
Corey's got to give him a little blowy.
Yep. Mikey.
What?
That's a 5.
I'm not a critic. Like, I assume there's moments that could have been better, but like, I fucking love this movie. It's a 5, man, all
Yeah.
day. I can't pick out things that I would have changed.
Yeah.
I would just reach, and I don't know movies well enough or how to make them to critique it. So 5, bitch. Sorry, I didn't mean to say. I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah, you did.
Ollie. Ollie, rate for me.
Wow.
Rate. Use the hard T, please.
That was good.
I said rate.
I like that one.
By the time it translated here, I'm like, that sounds like a P.
Well, good thing I have a mic right in front of me.
Good thing.
Solid 4.5.
Nice.
Corey.
Now I know I'm not the
I
goat. Yay.
4.6 right here. 4.6.
Mine's 4.5.
4.5?
Mine's 4.5.
Oh, shit.
Oh, so you guys are the ones. I only did
Two
4.6. It would
grunts.
be higher, except I'm remembering the future movies, and there are
That's
plenty
part of
that
it.
I rate higher than this one.
part of
Yes.
So that's the only reason.
Yeah.
To me,
it was mainly the acting, and then mainly like a little bit like I'm thinking too much about the film at this point.
So we
at
have
the end.
co-grumps.
So yeah.
Before I rewatched it, I
yeah.
assumed I would score it lower. Like I was prepared to score it like 4.1.
I was prepared to score
or
it higher.
3.9. But then like I watched it, and I was like, this is freaking good. It's really good.
It's fun,
good
man.
PG.
I want to
much
share
fun.
one fun fact that I had to look up myself because it bothered me throughout the movie was like, why are spiders afraid of basilisks? And it's because what happens when you look a basilisk in the eye?
Oh, this was fun. Yeah.
and they have 8 eyes.
You die.
Yeah.
They had not only do they have 8 eyes,
4.
spiders can't close their eyes.
They are real vulnerable. Yeah.
You know what I want to know?
Spiders have up to eight
Funny,
eyes.
Tom. It's very sad. You try
They
being a
have
spider
8
for
eyes
one
and they
day.
can't close it. So their biggest fear is a basilisk because there's no way they can look away.
I want to
my
know
God.
why is there
That's crazy cool.
Yeah,
why is there so many goddamn spiders on the ground?
because of Aragog.
Because Aragog gets it in, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That thing, but they can't close their eyes. It's kind of like, why are chickens afraid of humans? Like, well, you all smell like fried chicken.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. You
I
are
don't
the
know if chickens
perfect
have the concept.
livestock
Yeah.
for me.
Like for a basilisk, spiders are just like
You're just a perfect killing.
Yeah.
Well, oh my, that's
8
what it
eyes
sounds
that can't close.
Close.
it's like too easy. You know
To
what I'm saying?
me, I think spiders are like the popcorn for basilisks.
Basilisk.
Basilisk. That was
And I just-
actually me tripping up the word because you've said it
I
incorrectly.
know we skipped
so
over
many
it in the
times.
synopsis, but the Aragog scene is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
great.
I can't do
It's
spiders.
goodbye.
But also the
Friends.
flashback is really nice too with
Yeah.
with Hagrid.
Well, yeah, and there's also
The running with the
I
legs.
guess it's not so much of a theory now. I guess a lot of people are like buying into it. I don't know if J.K. Rowling is
Rowling.
made it true, but he says I came here in the pocket of a traveler, and a lot of people think that it's Newt Scamander because he always
Oh.
puts shit in his pockets, and the fact that he, like Hagrid, is an outcast, and they share a love of animals. So he believes that Newt, or I believe Newt, is older than Hagrid.
Well, do we
older.
know what house Hagrid might be in?
No, probably Gryffindor.
Hagrid he had to have been a Slytherin because he was friends with Tom Riddle, wasn't he?
He was his like roommate.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like the scene when the flashback scene.
I'm gonna see if
looks
they
like
look it
it
up.
was in the dungeons,
But
but only Slytherins.
The theory
know where
is
they are.
that him and Newt became friends, and you can see Newt walking around Hogwarts in future movies and stuff, and that he gave him Aragog because he knows he loves animals the same way. Anyway, fun fact.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
That'd be great.
Oh, man. One tiny touch, which I don't know why I liked this so much, but when Uncle Vernon is like putting up the bars on Harry's window. Stop that. I hate that sound. It's the worst sound in all of the world. I hate it so much. In the first movie, you remember when he's like,
Gryffindor.
get in. Like there's a little mouth click.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it, you'll never be able to unhear it. Like
I didn't hear it again,
it's
but that's cool.
I hate it.
Uh,
Anywho,
He's Gryffindor.
he's Gryffindor?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Because I don't think he was friends with Riddle. I think Riddle just
you're
accused him,
right.
busted into his room and was like, aha, I'm
Riddle-
framing you.
Riddle was a prefect.
Anyway,
they
makes
can go
sense.
pretty much
Vernon
anywhere.
and the
can't they?
bars.
I liked that he changed his whole outfit to the little like denim suspenders and the little newsboy cap just to like use a power tool.
Yeah.
He went all
Like-
train boy.
Yeah, because
right.
all the time you're seeing him in
Like a
like
sweater vest.
business or sweater vest or whatever. And he's like, I'm a working man now. Like, was on the
I gotta fix the
suspenders.
house.
Little tank engine
I
here.
don't know why, but it was
also
only there
his-
for like 5 seconds, and I was like,
you saying your dad doesn't
had
have, like-
him. Some stylist had to choose
Here's
this
the thing.
whole
Yeah,
outfit
what I
for
do
you
when
to
I
put
do
I was
bars
gonna
on.
say, I
When
do
you
the
do
same
yard
thing.
work, you wear white New Balance.
You look
That's what
like Super Mario.
But
Well, also his family's outside, like it's some
Right.
kind of family event.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you know
just-
the Dursleys are 100% all they care about is their image.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They are a jaunty study in child abuse.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
I just every time I watch them or read about it, I'm just like, and nobody's seeing this.
yeah.
The neighbors aren't seeing it.
The neighbors
Well,
see
it's
it.
it's like how does no one see them going through a wall in a busy train station?
Yeah.
But well, they
I do
explain in
like
the
that
book,
actor that
Muggles,
came back.
Muggles choose what they want to see.
I guess.
I think well, I think they say it in the movie that like
It's a logic thing.
It's-
Your brain goes, oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
again,
They just like explains it away.
the
Like,
one
that didn't happen.
The one guy who probably saw the car flying is probably a farmer.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna believe him.
But yeah, I want to just wrap it up here and
some
say,
people.
did you guys get the Grumps right? I guess Grumps,
the Grumps.
right? What was your guesses? Share it with us. What's
Was
your
anyone
rating?
surprised
Let-
that I chose over 4.5?
Let us know your rating. Slip inside in them DMs. Send foods.
Yeah.
Mikey, thank you for being here again.
Hey,
buddy.
thank you
Aw,
so
thank you,
much
Fran.
for letting me come on.
Thanks
I'm
for bringing
sorry.
your beard with you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll bring it next time.
Oh,
It's been so
Mikey
fun.
wanted to share some information since Pottermore updated. He's no longer Slytherin.
I'm
What
not.
the
I'm
fuck?
not.
Get the hell
Where
out
are
of
you
here.
now?
Okay, so I entered the transfer portal as all the college football players are doing right now, and I am now a Gryffindor. I traded in
There
my
you go.
traded in my my
I'm
need to be
still
unique, and I
Ravenclaw.
want friends.
Okay.
How long ago was this?
So I retook it probably just a month ago. But I'm not a loner anymore, guys. I want to have friends.
I was your Slytherin bro.
Yeah, well,
why he felt alone.
Rawr. Rawr.
But Mikey, where can people find what you're doing right now?
Oh, Goodness. Oh, I would say, gosh, just keep checking out the storyboard stuff. Right now, that's all I really care about is getting better at writing sketches through the help of Corey and Tom and our other members.
We got some new stuff coming out.
New stuff. Hopefully it'll be fun.
Exciting.
Where can I catch your socials?
Socials at Mikey Nau, MikeyNow. Got a couple things coming out with actually Corey and I are going to go into production on a little pilot.
Super top secret.
Super top secret. That's all we can
Ooh.
say. But we get to play best friends, and I think
Nude
that's
best friends.
Well,
Oh, nice.
brand nude, and
Uh-huh.
I'm just so excited that I get to play with Corey for a couple days and a couple weeks leading up rehearsing,
and get paid for it. not
and
get
it's
paid
gonna
for it.
be a big old fat paycheck for us.
But yeah, Mikey, we'd love to have you back for the rest of the Harry Potter movies.
We will have
yeah.
you back.
Thank you so much. I promise I will. Like, if I'm going to yell, it will be further away from the microphone. I got excited. I'm really sorry.
He's excited.
I'm sorry.
Josh, you want to take us out?
Yeah, everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. We talk about our patrons. We are grateful for our patrons. We are grateful for everybody that are listening. However you listen on Apple Podcasts, on our website, nerdon.tv, wherever you get your Nerd On action, we thank you for doing it. Thank
do.
you for sharing it with your friends, your family, your enemies. For your reviews, slipping and sliding into those DMs, commenting, all of the things, we are grateful. We do have another podcast that we do once a month, saying we, the proverbial Nerd On we.
The Nerd On fam.
The Nerd On fam. Izzy and Nikki host this podcast, and that is the first Monday of every month, and
called
it's called
Trope
Trope Time. All the info that you can get about Nerd On, the Nerd On Nation, Nerd On family, everything is nerdon.tv. But thank you again, and you know the drill. As always,
Nerd On!
Ending broadcast.